This is a behind-the-scenes look of my CGI short film, Chill. I'll break down some of my workflow and go over the storytelling aspect of it. If you haven't seen the film yet, please do so. It will only take you 2 minutes. The title, Chill, has a double meaning, and the film represents that by having two opposite feeling scenes. First, we are in the forest, where we follow a conversation of a couple. We are welcomed with a relaxed music and environment, feeling safe among nature. Just taking it slow, chilling. Once we reach the end of the scene, that calmness quickly changes to uncertainty and fear, sending chills down your spine. I wanted to visually represent the duality of the word chill with the logo. That's why I used two different fonts, layered on top of each other. The first font is clean and conservative. The animation is slow and gentle, and it appears in the beginning of the film to set the tone of calmness. The second font is narrow, sci-fi looking, and the animation is fast and choppy. It appears at the end of the film to leave you feeling unsettled. Fun fact, the two fonts logo is never shown in the film, but only in posters and social media content. I wanted the VR headset to have a very rough and unfinished design, so I thought I'd model it myself. The unpolished look I was going for felt like a good excuse to practice, as I'm not particularly good at modeling. Using basic shapes, I put together a device that served as a storytelling element too. There are subtle details that you will never notice in the finished film, like the logo of the tech giant, Link Corp, that was made using a free windings font and extruding it in 3D. Knowing I will be texturing the model in Unreal Engine, I needed to figure out all the different parts. So I organized the hierarchy and UV unwrapped every part separately. Then, using a preset of materials, I textured the whole model. To give it more visual interest, the headset had a few displays that needed something to show. So I put together some UI designs in After Effects with the help of pre-rendered elements. After that, it was a question of creating animated materials and assigning them to the correct parts. I came up with a backstory to support the film, but 2 minutes is not enough to tell it. So I used AI to generate some images that hint at what might have happened in the past. If you look closely, you will notice the propaganda posters in the background. If you think about it and put together the pieces, you will understand that an alien life form has come to Earth, and it is feeding on human minds. So humanity formed the Terra Guard Alliance, who are actively recruiting soldiers to fight the enemy. You might also notice the advertisement posters from Link Corp, who are introducing a service that promises to keep your memories safe and a device for you to access your memories in a secure way. In Photoshop, I added typography and made the posters look worn out and damaged, then placed them in the Unreal Engine scene as decals. This is a great way to add detail without adding new objects. Decals are materials that function as stickers, projected on a mesh that is already in your scene. Using Unreal Engine's built-in tools, I was able to create the two main environments relatively quickly. The landscape tool is fast and responsive, so building a forest was no problem. Adding trees, plants, and grass was made easy with Foliage tool. There is nothing more satisfying than painting greenery with a brush. 90% of the assets are from Megascans, which are free. Adding some details with assets from Fab gives the scene a more art-directed feel. I did that with a butterfly and some particle simulations like flying bugs and fog. To create the woman, I used a basic DAZ 3D model that I rigged in Mixamo. Then in Cinema 4D, I put some basic clothing on her and gave it a little life with a simulated wind. Even though the woman never comes in focus, I used a MetaHuman face preset to change her head. Add one more animated cloth asset from Pixel Lab to give her a little more movement. Adding everything into a blueprint made it easy to animate in Sequencer. Building the Warzone environment was fast with assets from Kitbash 3D. Using a few of the buildings, I built a blueprint of a city block. The metahumans are one of the best things in Unreal Engine. Not only do they look crazy realistic, but they are also easy to animate. Using the LiveLink app and my iPhone, I was able to capture my face as I performed the part. I captured a couple of takes of my performance and applied them to the MetaHuman with MetaHuman Animator. There is only one shot where we see the character talking. The rest of the performance was about expressing emotions. I wanted to have a shot of the main character looking at the camera as his helmet comes on. Very much Iron Man inspired. The helmet was a part of a full-body suit that I bought from Daz 3D. To make it animatable, I separated it from the rest of the suit and chopped it into pieces. Luckily, polygon selections were already a part of the model, as it initially had many different materials. After that, I went through animating all the parts. The animation might look complex, but it is just many simple movements coming together. Easily the hardest part of the process was working on the audio. I am not very picky when it comes to audio quality, so I'm sure the audiophiles out there are going to cringe when watching. Anyway, there are three main audio tracks to think about: the voice actors, the sound effects, and the music. I refused to use AI-generated voices for the film, so I asked my friends Andy and Lucas to do voice acting for free. They have musical background, so they have the needed equipment, and I think they did an amazing job. For the sound effects, I used mainly Envato. You can find just about anything in their library of sounds. As for the music, I decided to use something from the YouTube audio library. This way, I wouldn't have to deal with licensing. You'd be surprised how much quality stuff is in there. And yes, it's free. I used two tracks. The first is a gentle tune from the Soundlings, and the second one is a kick-ass cyberpunk-sounding track from Dan Hennig. I made small adjustments to the volume in Adobe Audition and assembled everything with After Effects. A better workflow would be to assemble in Audition, but hey, I'm just making a cartoon. I hope this was an interesting insight, and again, if you haven't seen the film, please watch it. Until next time.